Before the things get really started with the series, and tomorrow the Western Conference play-in games feature the Lakers and the Warriors. Lakers and Pelicans both minus 110 in their matchup, while the Warriors are a minus 150 favorite against Sacramento. Intriguing, both totals set at 223.5 for tomorrow. So I'm imagining, Aaron, Joe, that a lot of the public's going to think the Lakers and Warriors, those are the teams to bet. Does anyone want to bet against either of those teams tomorrow?
I will bet against the Lakers.
Oh.
I will bet against the Lakers. It's not going to be a large position, but I do like New Orleans. They just got roasted a bit at home on Sunday against the Lakers. Now you're going to turn around a couple days later. You're going to play each other again. Lakers going on the road to try to take out New Orleans twice in 3 days. I don't know. I don't necessarily buy it. You can look at all this stuff and what happened during the regular season. I will point out the fact that the Lakers have not been a very good road squad. 19 road wins this season. That's tied with the Bulls. The Bulls, 19 road wins, 17th in offensive efficiency on the road, 20th in defensive efficiency on the road. Won't be surprising to see LeBron and AD go in there and get the win. Like I said, it's not a big position, but I do like New Orleans here. It opened pick and moved up to as high as 2. Then we saw Laker money. It came back down to 1.5.
I'm on the Lakers here. I take the points.
Even after you listen to all that well-worded analysis.
They beat them in 3 of the 4 games, and they're beating them by an average of 26 points.
Okay.
Like that's not even close. That's blowing them out. Also, Zion Williamson, you know how many playoff games he's played in? 0. Do you know how many LeBron has? 282. AD, 55. The experience is there. They've done it during the regular season, again, blowing them out in these types of situations. So, yes, maybe it's closer than what we saw on Sunday. I don't expect that to happen necessarily again, but I do think the Lakers can keep it within 1.5, let alone probably end up winning the game.
Fun note on the total in this game. Open 228.5. Yeah. It has been plummeting all day. It's down to 223.5. This is that time of year where you still, early in the playoffs, get these regular season totals prices, but you don't get regular season totals performances. Teams D up, and as they see each other, and this will come for the real playoffs when we get there, as they see each other, they get familiar with one another, they get familiar with the rotations, the bench players, and they start to suppress the scoring a little bit because of that familiarity.
Knowing teams that are good in clutch time, knowing teams that are good in the fourth quarter that can close it out, that's going to be important as well as defense, like you mentioned.
Good point.
We talked about those unders last year, a narrative in the play-in. 4-2 last year to the under in the play-in. We can discuss that tomorrow before we get to those games, but these totals way lower than what we've seen when these teams have matched up during the regular season. So I'm with you, Aaron. I like the Lakers.
No way.
Shocker.
No way.
LeBron's experience over Zion Williams. I mean, there's things you can bank on. It's about to be the end of April. It's about to be the playoffs, and LeBron's going to get bounced to the 8-9 game by the New Orleans Pelicans, a team they obliterated in the play-in. They obliterated when they needed that victory. Come on, I'm not going to bet against him and Anthony Davis when it's Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram on the other side who I have to invest into. Maybe if it was Steph and Draymond and Clay, okay, they have some equity. Yeah. The others, no. Okay, one of us willing to bet against the Lakers. Anyone betting or willing to bet against Golden State in their spot? Aaron, I'll start with you.
I like the Warriors in the money line. It is too juicy now at minus 150, so maybe we make a little bit of a same game parlay or something like that. But the Warriors, we talk about experience with the Lakers. The Warriors, think about the experience that this team has together. Also, they've been hot lately. They've won 10 of their last 12 games. Also, if you just look at the last 10 games as a whole, Golden State's top 10 in offensive rating and defensive rating. They're playing some of their best basketball right now. Now, I don't think this is going to be easy by any means, but I do think ultimately they pull away in that fourth quarter and they'll be able to win it.
I agree. If you go back to March 26th, a very arbitrary date that I picked because it will support my statistics wholeheartedly. So all the haters out there with the statistics, I'm cherry picking a little bit. But go back to March 26th. Since then, the Warriors have won 10 games. That's more than anybody in the NBA. During which time they're 5th in the NBA in offensive efficiency and they're 4th in the NBA in defensive efficiency. They have really turned it on late in the season. Wait a minute. Was that graphic just a March 26th graphic on the Kings?
What do you know?
Is that what that was, Paul?
Yes, it was.
I didn't even know that was coming. The magic of TV right there. Well, yeah, since that time, the Kings also stink, which is a good reason to bet the Golden State Warriors as well. Perhaps attending the earlier meeting would have benefited me in this situation, but
we're here to support you in one way or another. The Kings have stunk since March 26th.
What am I seeing on TV right now? That is fantastic. Another game, though, where under money's pouring in as well. Not as significantly as the Laker game, but it is.
I'll make it 3 for 3. I like the Warriors. The Kings, you point out, they have not played good basketball. They're missing a couple of key pieces from their rotation, Malik Monk and Kevin Huerter. Meanwhile, the Warriors' rotation has solidified. Steph, Clay, Dre, Kuminga, they're all playing really good basketball at this time, as you two pointed out. So 3 for 3 on the Warriors there.
One quick narrative here. Anita, hold one real tight, real quick. One little narrative. If this is the end of the big three in Golden State, losing this game, Sacramento has been little brother to this team for a decade. Clay's 37-point quarter against the Kings. Steph in Game 7 last year against the Kings. Historically, the Warriors have beaten this franchise to a pulp. It would be somewhat poetic if the Sacramento Kings found a way to blow up the big three here, but I just don't see it happening.
As you can tell, Joe has covered them for quite some time. At one point in time.
You just watch the Kings. Kings in Portland, we're always on the wrong end of these meetings. Sorry, Anita, please. Great to see you.
Good evening, Anita. Anything you'd like to say to Joe for hogging all your time there?
No, not at all. I'm curious what the producers are going to show when I talk about how I'm supporting the Golden State Warriors. I don't know. Maybe we're going to see Draymond Green punch somebody in the face. That'll be fun. But let's remind ourselves. This is a rematch of the first round from last year where it went the distance, right? It went 7. And what did Curry do? He put up 50 points, right? Like this is going to be that same type of atmosphere. Win or go home or go fishing, as some people like to say. Maybe that's another network. But this is a Golden State team. They're better on the road than they are at home. Sacramento 16th best worst team at home. Let's not forget Golden State shooting 43% from behind the arc against the Kings. They've got more depth. Their role players have this type of experience. I think they've got the better coach. Meanwhile, the Kings not as healthy. I think Monk being out, who I do anticipate potentially could win six-man off the bench this year. Not having him, I think, is going to be really crucial as to why they're going to lose against the Golden State Warriors.
With the NBA regular season complete, let's take a look at some betting superlatives here on ESPN Bet Live. The Magic, best team to bet on against the spread this season, covering 51 games en route to the 5 seed in the Eastern Conference. The Hawks, however, the worst team to bet on ATS, with just a 35% cover rate. Atlanta, 10 games under 500, even with Trae Young healthy. And there were 3 teams that tied for the most overs this season in the league, the aforementioned Hawks, as well as the Lakers and Thunder, who had 47 of 82 games finish over the total. And as for the team with the most unders, that would be your defending champion, Denver Nuggets. 57% under rate was the highest in the league, and that included 3 straight overs to end the year. How about that? As for season-long props, 16 of the 30 teams finished under their win total. The Thunder outpaced their projection by the most, while the Grizzlies, there it is, underperformed by more than 18 wins. And an interesting trend to keep in mind for next season, the team with the 5 lowest preseason win totals this year, the books got it right. So all 5 went under and finished with the 5 worst records in the league. All right, let's get to the playoffs. 2 of the Eastern Conference series, they are set, including the Bucks as a -165 favorite over the Pacers in the first round. The health of Giannis Antetokounmpo is the biggest factor in this matchup after he missed the last 3 games of the season with a calf injury. And since it is that time of the year, we need to step up our game by welcoming in the big man, Kendrick Perkins, joining us here on ESPN Bet Live. It's always fun when Perk drops by, so we have some questions we want to throw your way and hear what you have to say. Let's start with those Bucks. Heading into the playoffs, you've been a roller coaster with this team all season long. What's your level of faith in this team given Giannis' health right now?
I don't have too much faith in them to go out there and complete the mission, meaning make it to the NBA Finals, but I do have a lot of faith in them to make it past the first round. Matter of fact, I got the Milwaukee Bucks winning the first round. And look, when you think about Dame, right? Think about Dame and what he has done when Giannis hasn't played, putting up big numbers, being able to be a facilitator. Think about Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is a 20-10 guy when he's in the starting lineup. Bobby Portis could start on 50% of the teams in the league right now, in my opinion. So when I look at Chris Middleton as well, he's been looking great since coming back off an injury. We know that he's capable of elevating his game. Patrick Beverley, heart and soul of the team. You know, he's going to come in with his leadership and junk up the game. If they can hold it down, which I believe they will through the first round, and Giannis gets back somewhat healthy in the second round, then obviously, yes, they could make a run for it, but I don't have that much faith for them to complete the mission.
Ooh, I mean, I think the Pacers might be able to beat the Bucks in the first round. Obviously, the two concerns being Giannis's injury. Also, the Pacers, I mean, they have confidence to beat this team considering they've done it 4 or 5 games. Do you think I'm absolutely crazy for thinking at least the Pacers have a shot? I know you think Milwaukee will do it, but am I crazy for thinking that?
Aaron, I would never
Joe.
think that you're crazy. Look, I would never think that you're crazy or never say that you're crazy because you're actually great at what you do. But I will say I feel sorry for your loss if you are picking the Pacers. I will say that. Look, and it's because I believe that Milwaukee will have the best player in the series still, even without Giannis. I'm thinking about Damian Lillard. I'm thinking about how he earned the name Dame Time and how he sent so many people home. Closing out series, having spectacular performances. He lived for this moment. And so when I think about Damian Lillard, I'm thinking about Tyrese Halliburton, I'm thinking about Pascal Siakam, I'm thinking about Miles Turner. Who is going to be the number one guy? Who is going to be the best guy in that series? I'm putting all my eggs in one basket, and I'm going with Damian Lillard. I got the Bucks winning this series in 6. The Cavs are not going to win anything because they do have a losing mentality. And it starts with their leader, and that's Donovan Mitchell, right? Donovan Mitchell has to elevate his leadership if the Cavs are going to make a run. The Donovan Mitchell that I'm watching, I don't know if he wants to be there, right? I don't know. Sometimes he looked like a vibe killer. Sometimes he looked like he's in the way of Darius Garland. We haven't seen the best version of Evan Mobley, who, by the way, they drafted in the lottery pick, 2 years ago. Why is that? And so when I look at this Cavs team, it's like, do Bickerstaff have control, or does he have the ears of that locker room? I don't believe so. But as a leader, as the guy in Donovan Mitchell who has been in playoff moments, who has risen to the occasion, like you would expect him to get uncomfortable. To me, it seemed like he has 1 foot out the door. His bag's already packed. So I'm with you on this one, Joe. Can they beat the Magic? Absolutely. The Magic doesn't have playoff experience, but the Magic making the playoffs is a huge thing for the Magic. But they're not getting past the second round.
All right, Aaron, Joe, back as promised with the one, the only, Kendrick Perkins here on ESPN Bet Live. We're talking about the postseason, and I want to turn our attention to the play-in games. Perk, specifically, I want to start with the Heat and the Sixers, because the Heat, who cares what they do in the regular season? They're usually made for these moments in the playoffs. The Sixers, Aaron and Joe's Sixers, now Joel Embiid is back, and they've been white hot to close out the regular season. How do you see this matchup playing out with the Sixers favored by 4.5?
I actually love the 76ers, and I'm looking at one matchup in particular, right? Bam Adebayo and Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, still not 100%, is still better than Bam. We've been waiting on Bam to take that leap. 19 and 10 is good numbers, but is he ever going to get to great numbers? And right now, the advantage, Joel Embiid, I understand he has 0 dunks since he returned from injury. But you know what he does have? He has that mid-range jump shot, and he has mastered that. Whether that's in the pick and roll with Tyrese Maxey or whatever, Joel Embiid has been automatic from the midi. We know how he's great at getting to the free throw line. I'm taking Philly solely because of this individual matchup between him and Bam.
And Perk, I'm going to be targeting Tyrese Maxey props. It's currently at 23.5 for his points. He's averaged 27 points against Miami, hitting over 30 in 3 of the 4 games that he played. Would you go over or under 23.5 points?
I'm taking over. I'm taking over. When it comes to Tyrese Maxey, in my opinion, he's been the second best point guard in the Eastern Conference behind Jalen Brunson. This young man has balled out of control. I think the sets and the freedom that he has, that Nick Nurse has allowed him to have and putting him in a position to be successful. And also, playing with Joel Embiid opens up a lot for Tyrese Maxey. Adding Buddy Hield to the lineup opens up a lot for Tyrese Maxey. The way that Kelly Oubre has been balling opened up a lot for Tyrese Maxey. I'm going with Tyrese Maxey for the over 23.5 points tomorrow night.
Monster showdown tomorrow night outside of Philadelphia, Miami. New Orleans hosting the Lakers. This is a rematch from what we saw Sunday. Lakers went in there, beat the Pelicans. Now they're going to run it back. Pelicans laying 1.5. Total 223.5. Stage too big, lights too bright for New Orleans in this situation?
I actually love this 1.5 because a lot of people out there look at the last game and say, oh, the Lakers got their number. Well, the New Orleans Pelicans, I'm pretty sure their film session wasn't a great one, meaning Willie Green probably went there and got on their behinds about certain things. They're going to come out with a different level of physicality. I believe that Zion Williamson will play better. I also believe that they will find a way to implement when it comes down to Brandon Ingram. That was his first game back. We know with Troy Murphy, we know with the kid Herb Jones could bring for us on the perimeter defending, they're going to be a different team. And they're at home. I'm not picking them to win it, but it's going to go down to the wire. And I feel like the Pelicans are in a great position right now. And don't look at the last game of what the Lakers done, because it's going to be a totally different team down there in the know you did.
That point and a half could be valuable if it comes down to the wire. The other play-in game, another playoff-tested team in the Golden State Warriors laying 2.5. All of us up here, Perk, pretty much like Golden State because of their experience in this spot against Sacramento. Are you with the squad up here?
Y'all like, not love? I love Golden State in this matchup. I love them. And look, people think back at that series that we saw last year that went 7 games and Steph had to have one of his Steph-type moments. But people have to realize the Sacramento Kings are missing a lot of offense when you talk about Kevin Huerter, when you talk about Malik Monk. That's a lot of offense. They already don't play defense. So if I'm looking at Steph in this one-game series with how Draymond Green been playing since he came back from the ejection, how Jonathan Kuminga has been balling, Chris Paul, Klay Thompson has been balling out of control, I feel like the Warriors are set to win this game, and I think that -2.5 is a little low. I think it's going to be double figures.
NBA